Welcome to Have History Will Travel. I am your host, the Wilder Historian, and I want to delve into the true story behind the Boston Tea Party and subsequently the beginning of the American Revolution. On a cold December day in 1773, a group of Bostonians, poorly disguised as Mohawk Indians, snuck aboard a British East India Company and dumped over 300 crates of tea into Boston Harbor. In retaliation, Britain closed Boston Harbor, which threatened to destroy the colony's economy because its finances revolved around the harbor. But what is the true story of why these men did what they did? Well, to do that, we have to understand how the colonial economy worked. The Navigation Acts, which took place between the late 1600s and early 1700s, were laws put in place to regulate trade to the colonies. In theory, the colonies were supposed to produce raw goods and only import finished goods from the mother country, Britain. Although these laws were passed, they were hardly ever enforced to any large degree. This set up an economy based on smuggling. That was a commonly accepted way of doing business, even though it bypassed British laws. One of the biggest factors behind the Founding Fathers rallying against the British was when the enforcement of laws hurt their pocketbook. A great example of Founding Fathers fighting back against the enforcement of the laws was when John Hancock's ship, the Liberty, got confiscated by the customs officials for carrying contraband. Hancock was a well-known smuggler, and so were most of the merchants in the colonies. So when this ship was confiscated, the merchants in the community attacked the customs officials and got the Liberty set free. A few years later, he would assist in the Boston Tea Party. Starting in the mid-1700s, the British started cracking down on smugglers like John Hancock. Smugglers undercut the market for British goods by bringing in goods from other countries. One of the biggest items that was causing problems for the British was tea. Warehouses of tea were wasting away in India from the British East India Company. Since the National Bank in England had financial ties with the company, this could be devastating for the country itself if they could not unload this tea. Their plan was to lower the price of tea, which would undercut the smugglers. So for clarification, the Tea Act made tea from the British East India Company lower. This is what spurred men like John Hancock and other Bostonians to dress as Mohawk Indians and dump tea into Boston Harbor. It was ultimately because their illegal activities was no longer financially viable. Smuggling was being cracked down upon. I hope you learned something in this video. Thank you all for sharing my videos, and I will see you next time.